Morning, everyone. Approximately 10:50 p.m. last night, police responded to the 5200 block of Germantown Avenue for a report of a shooting on a SEPTA Route 23 bus. There, police encountered one victim suffering from a gunshot wound to the chest. They subsequently transported him to the hospital, where he was later pronounced. Preliminarily, what we know is that shooter, solo individual, boarded a bus outfitted in a hoodie and a full head face mask covering. Immediately engaged the victim in a verbal argument that escalated to a physical confrontation, ultimately leading to the shooting. Quite frankly, this pattern is repeating itself far too often in the city, far too often on SEPTA. Seemingly, everyone has access to a gun, and the propensity to use it over meaningless arguments is shocking. I want to make 2 points really clear today. The first point is, if you take one trip on SEPTA, one trip, you are on literally hundreds of cameras. And we're going to use all of that video evidence to effect an arrest. And we will not stop. We will not stop looking for you, because we know you'll be back. And when you come back to take the next trip, be looking over your shoulder, because we're coming. The second point I want to make is regarding these face mask head coverings, right? More popularly known as Sheisties among our young folks. Those face masks are prohibited on SEPTA property. You come on SEPTA property wearing your Sheisty, you will be engaged by police. So I want you to think about that. For those involved in activity that is illegal, you will be engaged by police. Now you got two choices: remove it, or we escort you off property. I'll be happy to take some questions.
How difficult are those masks making it to identify this person despite your hundreds of cameras?
Surprisingly, not that difficult. We've had tremendous success in identifications with individuals wearing masks. So,
did the victim have a gun?
We don't know that as of yet.
And then, just as far as safety goes, as you mentioned, this is out of hand. This is happening more and more. What can be done to keep people safe from trying to go home from work after a long day and not have to deal with somebody shooting another person?
Yeah. So we've over the course of time have invested heavily in a number of areas, and one of those areas is incorporating and integrating all of our processes with the city of Philadelphia, right? So anything that occurs, anyone's SEPTA property, we are in direct communication with the city. We are in direct radio communication with their police dispatch. We share our video cameras. We've done this for a reason, so that we can then leverage the 6,000 plus officers in the city of Philadelphia to assist us with safety and security on SEPTA. And we're looking at a number of things, right? We look at all of our processes every day, especially after a critical incident like this, to determine where we can change things to gain ground in this. But I got to be honest with you, a society as a whole has got to take a stand with these incidents, right? Response alone is not the answer. Police deployment and strategy alone is not the answer. The city has to get fed up. They have to voice their opinion on how they want to be policed moving forward. We saw that several years ago, where the public was extremely vocal in telling us how they wanted to be policed. I think it's time to revisit that.
Chief, so we're clear, for those of us unfamiliar with the term, a Sheisty would be like a face mask?
Ski mask,
okay.
balaclava, Sheisty, yeah.
Do bus drivers have what would be commonly called a panic button that could alert police right away?
Yeah, our operators have access, direct line communication access with their control center, which has direct line communication with police. And in fact, the operator was in communication immediately after the incident yesterday. I'll tell you what, I want to highlight one thing. The actions of the operator in this incident were tremendous. This operator, a fairly new female bus operator, kept her wits about her during this. Bus was in motion when this kicked off, and did a tremendous job in at least helping to protect other people in that bus.
You have the artificial intelligence system monitoring subway platforms. Can I assume that they're not being used to monitor onboard real-time buses?
So not yet. There's a couple reasons for that. So we are in the process of upgrading all of our systems right now. That's going to give us real-time monitoring of buses, which we haven't had historically in the past. So we're approximately halfway through that process of our fleet. So we are getting to the point where we have real-time access and monitoring of cameras on buses. Regarding the AI software that we're testing, it's a pilot phase right now, right? So we're starting with just a percentage of all of our cameras right now. If this proves to be successful, we have every intention to go across our entire system and use it on all 30,000+ cameras.
Chief, we were in North Philly last week, another shooting on a Route 23 bus. Talking to riders out there, they said they just simply do not feel safe on the system. What do you say to those people that don't want to hop on board anymore?
You know, look, I sympathize with them. I understand. Like, this is a violent time in this city right now, and police everywhere are trying to come up with deployment concepts and response strategies to make them feel safer. And we're doing those things. We talk about a lot of the things that we're doing all the time, but the bottom line is it's going to take a Herculean whole of government approach to this. All of us have to get together and work together on limiting access to guns. Start there, because everybody seems to have access to them. We're seeing guns in the hands of 12 to 14-year-olds. Right? This is new territory for us, but we're going to do everything in our power to make our customers feel safe.
Two things. Do you have any idea of the age of the suspect? And then is Philly Police handling this thing now moving forward because it's a homicide?
Yeah, so Philadelphia Homicide will be leading this investigation. We typically provide them with a lot of level of support in that. And then in terms of identifying suspects and being on the lookout for individuals matching descriptions and all, we're doing that right now.
Was the bus driver nearly hit with a bullet?
So the bus operator, one of the bullets struck past the bus operator through the enclosed compartment that we have on the bus.
Was the bus moving during the shooting?
It's hard to say because the actual shooting itself is not seen on camera, right? We see a physical confrontation occurring on the bus, and the bus was moving during that.
Are you releasing that footage?
That's going to be communicated through Philadelphia Police Department Homicide, yeah.
You said the shooter immediately engaged with the victim. Does that lead you to believe that they knew one another? It's a scenario that we think is likely, and we're following up on.
When that person came onto the bus, did they sit directly next to, or they across the aisle?
No, they were removed maybe from an aisle seat on the opposite side of the bus.
Any idea of putting officers on buses as much as possible?
Yeah, so we typically do that when we're seeing patterns, right? So if we have pattern problems on any of our routes, we get that information from our operators who are seeing what's going on out there. Then we do. We typically use undercover officers and things like that on buses. We're going to do that as much as we can moving forward.
Chief, at Citizens Bank Park, at other venues, there are metal detectors now that allow people to walk through relatively quickly. Cost notwithstanding, is that something that is even a possibility down the road, to have metal detectors at subway entrances, at bus entrances?
I'll tell you, it's difficult. It really is difficult because it's I don't know if, I mean, nobody walks through a metal detector and doesn't get stopped, right? Because we all have some piece of metal on us. Operating a free and open public transportation system, incorporating concepts that limit and restrict that freeness and openness are difficult.
With your extensive camera system, did you guys almost immediately gain some access to what
Immediately after the incident, we had full camera.
and was that disseminated to all of the SEPTA police, to Philly police right away?
So we have pictures that we distribute to our police officers, and we distributed the entire video evidence to the Philadelphia Police Department.
So what's the warning, what's the message to the public? Do they need to be on the lookout for somebody? Is this a concern?
Yeah, look, there's a couple things we want to know, and we want to know quickly, right? And we provide an app for our customers to use anytime they feel unsafe, right? Don't think of it as 911. Don't worry about or bothering police with something trivial that you think is trivial. Here's what we want to know. If anything makes you feel unsafe, and that's an individual covering their face, attempting to conceal their identity, whatever it is, tell us, and we're going to have police en route. The earlier we can get police en route to any of these incidences, better chance we have to stop it.
Chief, was there talk of banning guns on SEPTA, and if so, where does that stand? Is that something that's being looked into after this pattern that we're seeing?
Yeah, so we're limited in what we can do by legal precedent and the law right now. And there's a legal precedent standing that has been decided upon by the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania that guides our actions involving firearms. All right, it's Commonwealth versus Hicks is the legal precedent, and it essentially says that law enforcement needs something else outside of carrying a weapon as the reason that we can detain someone and investigate them. Because the assumption in our society where legal carry is permitted, the assumption has to be that you're carrying legally. And so we need evidence in addition to just carrying a weapon, above and beyond, to give rise to suspicion of criminal activity.
Chief, it's our perception that in the last year we've heard more and more about shootings, stabbings on board SEPTA vehicles. Is that perception correct? Have you been able to quantify that?
It's interesting because I have a study being done right now, multi-year study being done right now, because my sense is the same, but I can't say definitively whether that's the case, but we are looking at it.
Do you think the city, ironically, after the pandemic, should now ban masks in general?
Masks are an issue. I'm going to be completely honest with you. These full head coverings are a major issue because we're seeing it routinely being worn in 80-degree weather or above. And there is no legitimate reason, pandemic withstanding, no legitimate reason to wear a full head covering in public for anything, medical or otherwise. All right, thank you, folks.